Hello. Oh, okay. Hello and karibu sana to Money Mondays. This is Icon Radio, and if you're tuning in on a Monday at this time, you know it's Money Mondays. Every week we sit down and talk about things about business, about entrepreneurship, and about life to some extent at times. And today we have our regular guests. Like I said, if you don't know these people, please just check. And if you're new here, thank you for joining us. The usual suspects, you know our guests today. So we're very happy to have Warimo Ndungu and Alistair Gold come to talk to us about small budget, big dreams, and building the right team. And we just want to understand the importance of hiring and hiring right. If you're a founder, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in business, we understand ata mamamboga. If you don't get the right person to assist you, by the way, you'll be hemorrhaging cash or stock na unashangaa zinaenda wapi. So today we want to discuss that. And to start us off, I want my guests to introduce themselves. Ladies first, Warimo, please let us know a bit about yourself. And then Alistair, karibu.
Okay, thank you so much for having us. I'm Warimo Ndungu. One of the things that I do is I'm a psychoeducator, and that's basically teaching people how to manage symptoms, living well with mental illness from my lived experiences managing bipolar disorder. Alongside that, and which is what much of what Alicia and I do together, is business development consulting, which one of the key things philosophies we have is, teams, people run businesses. It's not tools, it's not the bottom line, it's people who create all those things. So we're very excited to dig into that today.
Good stuff. Thank you, Warimo. And if you missed our last episode with this beautiful team, please join in, because Warimo breaks down some really heavy heavy things that she shared about her life. And I would encourage you to just tune in and watch that. Alistair, karibu.
Asante sana. Glad to be back.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, shortest version, I am a consultant right now, but with lots of varied experience across different fields, longest of which was in the world of investments, and then I spent some time in tech. And I'm now just using my combined skill set to assist businesses and individuals in matters around money and strategy. Yeah.
Good stuff. So in the consulting world that you guys have been in, just even as we're starting this conversation, I'm sure you have seen where people have gotten hiring right and where they have not. And I want us to start with the not part. Why is it important for me or for anyone in business to hire right? And what are the consequences, if I can say that, of just bringing my karela over here because amefanya computer anisaidie kwa biashara. What's the downside of that, just by way of introducing the conversation? Alice, Warimo. I'm looking at Warimo and I'm saying
Thinking of Alice. Okay. I think I'll share from the perspective of the person who's being hired, because I've not throughout my career so far, I've not been responsible for hiring a lot of people. But I'm so intentional when I am being hired, when I'm considering a role and kind of seeing the places where it really worked and the places where not so much.
So this is now you as the prospective employee.
Yes,
okay,
I take that. I mean, I really monitor my career, evaluate it against certain metrics. So I'm very switched on when I'm going through these processes. But I'll say this maybe to set the stage with how I think about this whole philosophy around working and my role in a team. I always say that as a hire, I'm coming in to improve the business. I may be getting hired for a very specific role, a title. As with 2 weeks, it was marketing and customer success. But for me, I'm always thinking, how will I improve this business? So first of all, is there an alignment between me and the vision at this company, regardless of whatever role I'm going to be serving in? So already when that is in place, it means you can start to think about longevity. If you're thinking about longevity, what does that path start to look like? Because that's a dual kind of process we're going to be going through. It's going to be me and my manager, whoever, kind of charting that path. And whenever we get to it, those are the things that do do start to contribute to retention, right? Because you're starting to see what your individual future looks like inside there. And I think at times, from my perspective, when it doesn't work, it isn't always necessarily competencies and things like that. It's people, sell stuff, mission and a vision on a website, and they talk about culture, and I don't know, maybe a pool table.
Qua ground,
honestly. So that mismatch, it creates a level of contention in the hire, even in terms of what you're expecting. You're expecting to execute a vision, and then maybe that's not there. So it can start to feel like a mismatch, even if you may have quality talent. So I think there's that one version of where it doesn't work. There is an issue of competencies, and this is where I think, especially starting out, really continuous learning is something to really demonstrate you can do. It isn't always necessarily you have 50 certificates in this thing. They could come in handy, especially like for technical sort of skills. But for the most part, I think it's trying to incentivize or appeal to the business owner and show them you're willing to absorb knowledge, learn, and they'll start to see that ROI in, I don't know, maybe the first month of this. You can think through stuff like that. So I think that's one of the ways to cover for the competency part. But if that's not there, I do genuinely think the competencies part can make it rather difficult to see how there can be a future for the two of you in an organization. So that's my 2 cents on that bit.
And I like what you've said as a potential hire, considering how their vision and their plan and all those nice things align with your own path or your career path, because it's typically natafuta kazi, good company, check in. I mean, unless they are, I don't know, an organization that completely contravenes your belief systems and whatnot. But generally, I don't think, and I stand to be corrected, I don't think many of us actually evaluate, like you're interviewing the company as well,
exactly,
before you being interviewed. And I think also that's why when and again I think I'm jumping ahead, but when you're in the interview and they ask you, do you have any questions, like you should ask some of those questions, because culture, they say, it's strategy for breakfast. And sometimes you're checking in the culture that has been painted, is let's collaborate, let's do this. Then you come and you find silos.
Bureaucracy.
Work-life balance, and then the boss wants you there at 6 and leave at 9, and you're forever connected. Anyway, let me pause there. But I really like that. I think it's important for those of us who are watching, before you now on this other side, before you apply for that job, and even if you do, research and know and see if it's actually something that will align with your own values or your, the plans that you have for your career. Then if they align, well and good. If you see there's a mismatch, then I guess you can do a pro and cons list and then decide. Anyway, Alistair, same question to you. What are the potential pitfalls if I don't hire right?
Okay. Well, maybe I'll say that business can be seen as a modern day form of warfare. And if you recruit the wrong people to the battlefield, you know what the outcome is.
Exactly.
So it's easy for people to want to work with family members and the likes, and that's one of the pitfalls of hiring wrong, in that it can strain relationships. And so I think overall people need to be very cautious and very thoughtful around the hiring process, because if you're recruiting people into a mission, you really want to be set for success. And the stakes are always high. Even if you are just starting out, or if you've been at it for a couple of years, the stakes are really high, and failure is very costly. So getting on someone to buy into your mission, buy into your vision, they are potentially leaving what they were doing to come onto your side. And for that reason, I think people maybe don't take enough time to think through why is this person coming on board, what are they going to do, could someone else be doing it, because for the most part when you're hiring, it's because you have limited capacity. Imagine starting when you're on your own. when you're on your own as an entrepreneur, you're doing everything, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
You're at the front, you're at the back, you're everywhere. So hiring becomes, okay, I need someone to help me with X. So if it's led by the fact that your nephew has skills in computer, as opposed to being led by what it is that the business needs at that point in time, there's already potential for collision there. So I think just thinking through why this role exists, what it is that the person is coming to do, before just going out there to look for someone and to fill gaps, is really important.
And back to that family thing, we see this a lot with family-led businesses. When I think the Asians get it right. Even if I'm hiring my child and whatnot, they have learned the business. You come in, let's say if it's manufacturing, you come in, you start from over there, the guys who are loading and doing things, and you grow. As you are sending you to business school during the holidays, you're coming and learning the business. So by the time you're being recruited as an executive, you understand the entire business from the ground up. And I'm not saying this is a blanket statement, but this is just what I've seen when I look at Asian-owned businesses and African-owned businesses. The Africans, I go get my MBA and come back and Mimi ni CEO. You do not know anything about the business. Yes, you do know because you've gone through to business school, but do you actually understand the nuances of the business? When the delivery guy is not there, what happens? When just the basic things about the business. And so I find that some of these models, if not handled right, then your business does not go beyond the founders. Care to chip on that?
That's so there's this thing I always
I'll ask you to move closer to your mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this thing I always say about the enigma of the professional employee, right? So that and where that comes from is generally how we plan for a career. Maybe you identify a big name company and you say I have to join them. You do everything in your power, get all the credentials as you've mentioned to join them, and then you get in. Then you're like, okay, you're in one department, let's say marketing, and the job is to rise through the ranks, you know. And sometimes the title becomes the goal, not the competencies attached to the title.
I like that. Hence the professional employee.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yes. So you are dreaming about ascension, not preparing yourself to contribute once you get there. And you also have this fallacy that the higher you go, the less work you have to do.
Yes.
And that's how you end up with people at the top, where you expect executiving to be happening, the strategy and the planning and the pivoting based on the trends and, like, for instance, tech disruption, right?
Yes.
You cease to do any of that because what have you been planning for 10 years? A title. That's what you've been waiting for. So when you give this example, for instance, about the whole getting the MBA, it's very well-meaning, but like here you are with a title. I really believe anyone can learn. Like, most people can learn about most things, but that's the problem. Even that ability, adopting continuous learning as a lifestyle, to be honest, it's a skill, it's a habit you have to keep cultivating,
honing in,
and many people don't, because they're doing what? They're waiting to do less as they age, but to earn more money and have bigger titles. So now I think this can be harmful to a business, because once you sit in those positions, people are waiting to be led, and leadership is not a title. It's learning to get to ask the right questions to get the most out of your team, spotting those gaps. As Alistair was saying, a lot of times, especially, I have worked in a lot of startups, so there's grace your code, your leaders, as they're figuring out stuff, but you also see the cost of the leader who hasn't learned how to ask questions, pivot really quickly, start to see, care enough about the team to know what do these 5 different departments do, what are like the 5 most important team members in those teams, and how are they overwhelmed, could I be getting someone else? Like, you stop thinking about those things, because you imagine they're in charge, they should know what to do, but it is your business,
exactly,
right? So I think over time, when you let those types of gaps or incompetencies sort of fester, then a bottleneck, an intern bottleneck, is not the same as an executive bottleneck.
Absolutely.
An intern, maybe you will I don't know, continuous learning, attach them to someone to shadow, and then if worst case scenario, even losing them maybe might not cost you as much as an executive who, you know, is blocking staff and maybe isn't learning or isn't approachable, because you don't need to know everything. As Alistair said in the last, you know, interview we had, or the last time we were here, he said he's very okay telling people, I don't know. I worked with him. That's who he is. The parts he doesn't know, but he knows how to leverage, to extract that out of the talent. Yeah, to be able to get there. And he's not, he doesn't make you the leader. He's not now almost parentifying you at work, making now it's your job to figure out that, and if things go south, it's your fault.
It's your fault. Yeah.
So it's really, I think, leadership is a competency as much as it is, you know, a responsibility or the title and things like that. So failure to like embed that culture of continuous learning as individuals, I think that's when you start to see 50 people on the team, but the business is suffering. What happened?
It's not growing. Yes, you know? Exactly. Yeah. Good stuff. Alisa, do you want to chip into that before now we get to the questions?
Oh, no.
Ilikuwa preamble.
Sawa. Let's dive in.
We dive in.
Yeah.
All right. So again, you're watching Money Mondays with me, Ezekiel Olande, and with me is Alistair Gold and Wari Mundungu, and we're talking about small budget, big dreams, and building the right team. So the first question, though hizo zilikuwa to, you know, I hope now you guys, you have your pens and pads ready to continue. So Alice, I'll ask you this question first. Why is talent such a big deal for small business owners, especially early on?
Okay. First thing I'll say is that simply because talent is part of it, is ultimately trying to deliver a promise to a customer out there. Without them, that promise cannot be delivered. That mission, vision cannot be achieved. So I think employees are that critical to a business and need to be seen as that, as opposed to, or just someone to fill in this space and I'm going to pay them, they're going to cost me, and hopefully they stay. That is a very common approach, a common view around employees, almost as if they are a lesser part of the business, yet they are almost like a leg upon which a business stands. And without them, then there's actually no business without a team. So I think for that reason, it's extremely critical, especially early on with a smaller business or in the early stages of a business. Hiring right is also setting the foundations of that business. It's not just that you can hire a few people to get me up to that stage and then I'll get serious. No, it's serious from day one, you know. And for that reason, whoever you bring into the business brings themselves into the business. And when you're very small, they are a big part of that business, you know, and they therefore will contribute to the culture of that business, what that business becomes, the language of that business, and how that business is seen by the people that it serves and affects.
I like that. And you reminded me of my days in uni when we were being taught theories of management and things like that. And we had the theory X managers who believe that employees are inherently lazy and they must do all these things. But when you get it right at the get-go, they're definitely going to be assets for you. But also, organizations that treat their employees right, I think you see it. You see them bringing in their A game, because you can have a very good hire, but then ukondani, you just don't know, you know, like you're saying, you've gotten these people, then when the business grows is when now you're going to be serious. But if you start from the get-go and you know we're on the runway and this is where we're going and we're all going together, I think it really, even for the employee, they feel that ownership, and they definitely give it their all. So I really like that. Warimo, I don't know if you have something you want to add on to that.
I think we can proceed to that next question. I think it's covered.
Yes, it's done very well. So we talk about a funnel, okay? And this is now the process ku andika mtu. You know, so you attract, acquire, and nurture. Can we go through these stages one by one so that we see how this is important and how you actually get it done well, especially in a small business. And looking at also, I know I'm loading a question on a question. If I don't have the resources to actually go through this, what are the alternatives as well? Yeah.
Okay, that's a really great question, and I feel like I'm passionate about that question because I'm a person who has chosen, for the most part, to work with startups. Startups don't always have the most money, and if anything, early in the career, it's that's career. What are you doing? They don't have as much money. You might not have a job. You may not have a job in a year, so why do it? So it's really not money. First of all, something I like to say is the employee experience is not a salary, or salary is not an employee experience, which is what people mostly tell you.
But how much are they paying? The almost the second, like the title for the professional career, as you talked about. The second question. The pesa ngapi?
So hot take maybe, and this is what these platforms are for. I think those things can be very useful, important. You do need to pay the bills, but if you're thinking long term, really thinking long term, it's a value exchange. Money is one part of the equation. It's not the only part of the equation, because like one of the things we teach in a masterclass we do together, we talk a lot about the knowledge bank. It's basically knowledge begets more money, and for me that's been true in my life. Like the goal of choosing to work in smaller companies where I have proximity to leadership, I am being empowered with autonomy, but also decision-making power. I found myself learning things that somebody will probably learn later on in their career.
Because, sorry to interrupt you, the closer you, like the smaller the team, the closer you are to the decision makers.
Exactly.
And the more you prove yourself invaluable, the more opportunities to rise and to grow and to build on that knowledge that you're talking about. So that's a vallaable point right there.
So exactly. So that's perfect. That's my journey. That was my journey with Alistair. That was my journey into 2 Leaks. Yes.
Hey, Alistair.
Because when you think about what's the ROI, the 2 Leaks may have shut down, but here we are business partners.
Absolutely.
So that's the value of the time there. But these are the things I was looking for in that interview process. So starting with even that attract and acquire. I always say this: onboarding starts the minute you start engaging the talent. Onboarding has started. If you're switched on, I am judging you. Okay, as the person trying to get me, I am listening to how you're rushing me, the language you're using, how much you're preparing me to succeed or fail. Because there's some people who want to trip you up. The interview is about tripping you up.
To catch you on a lie, or catch you on a
mistake or a fault.
Exactly.
Yet you see, like those first 90 days, you know about what it's like. I might be likely doing more than I do. Okay, so even little things like those assignments that are given, and I know there's mixed feelings or feedback around assignments for an interview, because sometimes people feel that you're giving away free work, but depending
that could be an entire interview right there, because there are brands that are well known for mining data from prospective talent.
That's true. But done right, like a version of it done right, I think some of the best ways to attract, maybe acquire the talent is really when you share an assignment that gives them a window into what they're likely to do. So they start to see, will I like what I'm doing? That's one part. But also, what do these guys stand for? Because now I think like the assignment they shared with me was something about trying to understand the mission, the thing that they're trying to solve, and my understanding of what they're trying to do. I thought that was very useful as far as starting to see what's my interpretation of what this company does. And for me, that was already appealing to me, who starts with the vision alignment more often than not, more than money, to be honest. I would say that that's just one of the ways I've chosen to vet things early on. So with a question like that, I'm also starting to understand what I'm getting into, and I'm coming up with my menu of questions on what I can ask them. And I need to now check inside the interview, in the process of I guess the acquiring is maybe not probably serious interviewing, right? How do you respond to the questions I ask about your company? Are you defensive? Do you feel those types of things? I'm taking note of that. But equally for the business owner, you're hearing how I think about certain decisions, and that's important and sometimes more useful than can you you write X amount of posts in your role? Can you've spoken to customers before? Okay, great. Then you'll be doing that A to B. So it should be a mix of strategy and execution, being able to see, to give both parties a chance to see how they both respond to that. Because then in your mind, you're starting to think, what would it be like to be at this place for 6 months to a year, or even if it's just the first 6 months? Are you open to me testing this and trying that? Those types of things. So I found that in an interview that allows for like knowledge or information mining on both sides, those types of things help with the now what you get to, which is the nurturing kind of phase, which is you'll be executing what the business needs. So you're giving value to the business as far as the constraints that they had. You're starting to loosen those constraints, but the business is giving you something back, you know. So like for me, I knew I was joining a very small team, so I knew I'd be working beyond my scope, and it was on purpose. I was aware of that. I didn't view it as this is a burden, not quite. But in this a lot that I'm doing, are there pockets of more of me to emerge? Can I develop certain skill sets that I have that maybe wasn't what you were hiring me for, but I'm interested in it and I'm going to do it anyway outside of here. Is there room for some of that here? So at 2 weeks it just to happen, it was you're doing all this mental health advocacy work. How can that fit into your role in marketing? Like proactively they brought that to me. I didn't need to go and tell them. So for instance, even without, I've not yet talked about money, but they're not talking about salary negotiation and things like that, honestly. And I'm not just saying that, you know, because he's my friend now, but truly it was, I could see there'll be so much room to be able to suggest and things are implemented or they're tweaked, and there's always room for stuff like that. And so as a result, I've really seen beyond the money, continuous like opportunities to learn are important. And for high performers, you need systems. You at least need to be a person. Even if the system hasn't been set up, there's room to co-create that as a matter of urgency. It's not an afterthought. The same way Alistair is saying that you shouldn't be thinking about hiring as, we'll have quality hires when we're 3 years into the business. It's speed. And a high performer wants speed. I want to know I can come in, we're doing this thing. If it's a no, I understand why. It's evidence-based. We can see it somewhere. If it's yes, we move in this direction. And then it'll be easy to scale, you know. So I think those are some of the things to sell to the candidate. This is a track. We've done a track. We've done a choir, I think. A bit of nurturing. There's a bit on retaining. And maybe I can hand this over now to Alicia. The retaining and the releasing. But those are the first three parts.
And as you say that, Alisa, from what Wairimu was saying, especially about 2 leagues, I think culture is really a big deal here, because, you know, even from the assignments that you're giving, do you like how our mission, our vision, our values, how do you see them aligning with what you're coming to do, as opposed to give us a strategy and blah 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 blah? Because you can ask me those things, I'll be prepared. You know, because I know the role that I'm coming to do, so I know they will probably ask me to present on something, you know, and stuff like that. But when you now look at organizational culture, because like what you're saying, you know, having that freedom that you're giving your employees to bring in not just the
JD.
Yes, but you have all these other experiences. How do you mold these things to a point where it's benefiting the organization and you're growing in that space as well? So I just thought maybe as you're answering about that, maybe you can talk about culture as well.
No, I mean, culture is very important to me. And I think it's an overlooked
aspect
or cheat sheet kind of thing. It's one of those things which is easy to ignore, but especially when people have been in an organization for very long and they end up having it ends up being a bit of an echo chamber, but an outsider coming in can quickly see
what's going on.
The culture is in an organization, and especially whether it is different or aligned with what they say it is. And briefly, I mean, culture is behavior. It really comes down to that. How is this business run? How do people carry themselves? What is the attitude of people in here? And how do they work together? Is this an environment that is conducive?
Does it cause us to thrive, to be innovative, to express ourselves? or is it a straitjacket bureaucracy type space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to see whether this is, if you're critically watching that and you're thinking about more than just a salary and a JD, because when an employee joins a business, they are bringing their whole selves. They're bringing their whole selves to commit half of their waking day for all the days of the week.
Yeah. And their most productive years as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So finding the right culture that can allow them to also grow, and this is now the nurturing part, is very important. So that's the responsibility of the organization, of the founders and the entrepreneurs who are trying to attract and acquire this talent. In order to join their mission and vision. So it's not that you hire someone and they're supposed to stay at the level where they were when you got them
exactly.
and leave at that same level.
Yes.
It's a responsibility, it's a joint responsibility, of course. Also, the employee has a responsibility in their own growth, but you as the company are the one who's making this promise to the person and telling them that if you join us, this is the way to the promised land.
Yes.
So nurturing them and trying to figure out, okay, this is what it says on paper, on the CV, but who is the person behind that? Because a person is not a CV. A CV is it's a highlight reel. It's a summary of
it's marketing
of so much.
There you go.
And it's kind of like the flip side of the job ad, and the website of the company, because everyone is trying to present their best foot, but we know that that isn't reality and that isn't complete. So this is where culture comes in, but the entity needs to be able to consider that person as a whole and see, okay, maybe I even got more than I bargained for. Maybe there's more to this person than those credentials and things. And in the right environment, then that person can become even a better version of themselves, and that'll benefit everyone. That benefits them, it benefits the company, it benefits the customers. So it's actually a win-win-win outcome through actively and intentionally nurturing these team members. Because they can grow. They can grow into your position, actually, as the founder, you're the CEO of the company. Even your first hire can take your seat, if you hire the right person.
You get into the board now.
Correct, and you go and do other things, and you go start another venture. So even the smallest or the lowest level hire needs to be, especially for an early stage company, it's critical, because you will be 2, then you will be 3, then you will be 4, and you will just be growing. And your own your impact or your self in the business is starting to reduce as far as the number of people that are around. So the kinds of behaviors that you set up very early on and that the first few people see from you, they are the ones who are going to embody that for the other people that are coming into your team over time. So I think nurturing is very important, and that is a way of retaining high talent. But I'll really move past retention very quickly into the next part of this funnel, which is release. Because retention is spoken about very heavily. I mean, there's strategies, tactics everywhere, how to keep high performers. But not many times do people think about the end of that relationship.
Absolutely.
That relationship is not forever relationship. It really isn't.
It'll always be time bound.
And I think it's important for organizations to already see that from the beginning. It's I find it odd when someone tenders their resignation and an organization suddenly changes the behavior and starts to say, oh, why?
You take it personally.
Taking it personally. It's odd, right?
You make it about yourself.
Imagine. Not instead of thinking that, the person could have outgrown my organization. They could have outgrown that role, and As it stands, I don't have room to give them more responsibility in another space. So allowing people to leave gracefully is extremely important.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think that part of the employee life cycle,
yes,
very overlooked, but really critical, because that same person, you never know.
Yes, down the road,
if they've really grown,
meet.
they have potential to grow even more. So why cage them in your organization when if you have a very good relationship with them, you can allow them to go and grow even more. And because you have a relationship, everyone benefits again. They will be a contact. They might be a door opener for you in the future. They might be a customer of yours in the future, and so on. So I think thinking about the entire life cycle of talent from the get-go, from even before the point you put out an ad for a job, is extremely critical in ensuring that they have a successful experience with you.
I really like that, the way you guys have defined that funnel. And I'm trying to think. So as a startup founder, whatever, entrepreneur, should I then, even before hiring, have this entire funnel mapped out, especially that last part, the release? Because you're like, but I have done, and then you forget that in as much as you have done this, you've provided all this, for this person, they have also given demonstrated value. That's why you have kept them. And that's why you even, not willing. And sometimes I know someone is very valuable to the team. You're just like, Aki, if this guy goes, by the way, what can we do? Like, can we, and there's the genuine one for, I really need you to stay. But there are those ones for, I don't want you to go in your own terms. And I've heard of situations where, you convince someone to stay, then now you frustrate their stay and eventually fire them. And I'm like, guys, why not just leave? Because like what Alistair is saying, you never know what's happening down the road. Human beings, I can't see beyond this door. In the literal sense. So I don't know where I'm going to meet you later. And a very good case in point is this relationship here. You guys work together, and you're now working together.
I left and now we work together.
So do I then have to have this planned before getting my first hire?
Actually, I'll
go ahead.
Give you a very quick one there. As far as why I'd say a very quick yes, even from a risk perspective. You really must. In that circumstances change. You might hire the biggest rock star, onto your team tomorrow and think, this is the person they're going to change our organization. But a brutal reality is, even if they don't leave, we die. Okay.
That is part of life.
That is part of life. So even if they've committed, I'm going to be with you for the next 10 years, life can happen, right?
Absolutely.
So what will you do as the business owner? Say that, they were not supposed to die. Come on. and so now my business stalls. No, you have to always be thinking, as a leader of a business, about that from the perspective of risk. Continuity of your business is extremely important, and it cannot be reliant on a single individual. The business has to be bigger, even than you, the founder. So I just had to drop that
Jump
in
in.
there.
I mean, we're aligned because I was going to talk about like succession planning.
Yes.
In that, this is why business acumen is important. Being a business owner doesn't mean you have business acumen. I think, I'm shouting, but like it's the truth.
Please, louder.
Of course, and still kind of following on from my professional employee kind of theory.
Right.
The whole thing is that people tend to rely on the competencies they feel they're the best at. But business exposes you in that you need to know everything. I am so sorry, you just need to know everything. Over time, you may not know
that. It's called polymath.
Becoming a polymath.
A polymath.
Even if at the beginning, even if you bring in a very smart person to handle your finance, you need to know some stuff about a P&L and a financial model. At least sit to their content and let them teach you until they give you can say it in prose, even if you can't draw up the spreadsheet. That is your job. Okay, it's just a responsibility. And these are the things that I'm saying, as far as you can put some nice vision, mission on a website and then make it seem like you're about to change the world. It's not impossible to change parts of the world. It can be done. Okay, as you shared, with the audience, like I saw, we're not talking about suicide nearly as much as we need to. I'm gonna change that. But it came with a cost. I need to learn a lot of things. I'm not just a patient. I'm also, a good communicator. I can tell you the business case of investing in mental health and patients and all that stuff, because you're speaking to multiple stakeholders. Comes with the territory. So even with business, it's not enough to just fill a gap. It all starts with that business model, and the business model then births the business plan, which is longer, right? And starts to show you this is our customer, these are the archetypes we have, this is our value props. Walk backwards. What are the types of people and hires that are needed in different departments to build the systems that keep us offering value to the customer? Everything I'm describing doesn't necessarily need people yet. What people do is they'll start with the business, get stuff done, bring in somebody who's really smart, and then think our success is because of this one person. I mean, just to play devil advocate now on the business owner side, me, I know I'm a star performer wherever I go, and like I know, even when I was with him, I was constantly being poached while working with by the way. But now from this other side, I am. He needs to plan in case I do leave, right? So in that sense, what's the archetype that this hire represents? Not they are purely the reason this place is succeeding. That helps you because then you get the best of them. Their time there, you've co-created this role that required these types of competencies. So which other type of person can I find that will allow us to achieve success in this area? And then now when you're coming down to that releasing part, instead of antagonizing each other, bullying, you should actually be spending that time doing transition, and in particular knowledge transfer around institutional knowledge, right? Because especially when you're in a small business, as as I was, and we can use Tulix as an archetype in that. Alisa yes may have done the marketing, but he was doing the investor relations, everything for the business, right? But now I spend more time on it because he's brought me in to do that. There's some frameworks I'm acquiring, about how to run that docket. So if I'm about to leave, it's knowledge transfer or documentation, transferring frameworks, not here's a task I used to do, here's how you do it, over to you, over to the next person.
Here's the folder.
Here's the folder. It's not just that. It's part of it, but it's not that. Because if anything, if especially we happen to be around when they've already brought in the person you're handing over to, it's almost spurring that person, getting them excited about being creative about how to improve that docket after you. You should always be imagining, even as the person leaving, the person who's coming will do an even better job. Not this people will suffer without me. I mean, deep down, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes when the culture is bad, you do want that.
Of course, we're human beings. You
may feel that way, but if it's a harmonious, and even when it's not, like, there's benefit to even you becoming the person leaving as a hire. It's a skill. It's wonderful to be able to document knowledge and transfer it like that, because then you'll know what to do in the next place from the beginning. You'll start with release in mind, to be honest, those types of things. So I think it really, the goal starts with the business owner taking ownership of that vision enough to understand who are the types of people in the different dockets who make this place shine. And then every person that comes into the road is giving you data, clues into the kind of people you need down the up the line, right? Up the road. Because at the beginning, what businesses often say, you need a lot of generalists. Over time, you feel like you'll need specialists. I want to argue that after that, you need generalists again, to be honest, because people stall, they stop innovating, they chill, even if there are opportunities. So then you may need to change that. So now you're thinking in terms of, okay, so these different departments have these types of roles. We are changing as a business. The business plan, we're moving in a different direction. How do people change? You already have people in there. How do I improve them? Maybe I have some of the wrong people. How do I release people? Because firing happens, right? Yes, but you have a clear plan as to why you would be telling someone that. So it's not just, you need to leave because you're just terrible. No, maybe this is a plan we're going with. But we seldom, again, business acumen, we seldom speak in the language of this is the direction we're going with, and this is why maybe your role has become redundant, or here's another opportunity that I would really need you to grow into because this is the direction we're going with. Like, speaking the language of business planning, not just I don't like you, bye.
Thanks. It's been real.
Exactly.
Money Mondays is a show. The topic today is small budget, big dreams, and as you can hear, we are talking about big things, even kama budget ni ndogo. And building of importance is building the right team, and we cannot overemphasize this. With Wairimu Ndungu and Alistair Gold, we need to land this plane. and we're just on question.
It's okay. It's okay.
But my next question to you, good people, what are some of the common hiring mistakes that you have seen? And I think we touched about this when we were starting. When you've seen founders making, when they're trying to build early teams, and maybe you can just quickly run through that because we had shared a bit about that.
Okay.
To you.
Maybe a hot take right here. One big mistake that a lot of people make when they're hiring is lying. Yeah.
Okay.
Ain't that the truth? Pun intended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of and this can be on both sides, to be honest. Also, people being hired do lie in order to just get opportunity.
Yeah.
But organizations can be dishonest or not fully transparent at the point where they are hiring, and even whether it's a large or a small organization. So with early stage companies, small companies, it's easy to overpromise, at the point where you really just need someone to get onto this role, and you'll tell them anything to just get them in, and they'll find out when they come in, and hoping that, well, once they're in, I'll figure it out, or once they're in, I'll have bought some time. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes anyone can make when hiring. Being dishonest at that point, at the start of a relationship, you can imagine what that means for the rest of the relationship.
And boy, do I have a story for you on that.
I'd love to hear it. So that is a big one. And then and I think why that comes about is because of the dynamic between employer-employee. There appears from the outside to be like a power imbalance in that they need me more than I need them. You see, there is more labor than there are jobs.
Yes.
You see, in most places.
Yeah, it's an employer's market.
So a lot of employers may feel that, well, if not them, there'll be someone else who needs this job anyway. I think that's a terrible way to run business.
Bad attitude,
It's a very bad attitude. And it's a bad way to deal with a part of a business that is so critical. You know, those people that join your team and eventually leave your team, upon the release, they are going to be either ambassadors or detractors of your business.
And people don't think about that.
Exactly. So part of a good release is that it connects back to the attraction. You see, so the funnel really connects back in that you nurture and retain an employee very well in your business, and eventually let them go when they have to. They will probably get you people, along the way. They'll attract more people. So being honest at the get-go, extremely important, and realizing that it's not a power imbalance. It's actually a trade,
Yes.
They are trading their time and energy for, of course, whatever I'm promising, which starts with money. And therefore it's an exchange. I think a lot of companies and employers need to bear that in mind. That it's not one way. It's not that I'm just paying them. They are also giving me labor. They're giving me ideas. They're giving me strategies. They are helping this thing. They're helping other employees within the team. They're helping my company appear a certain way. So I would say those are two that a lot of people are notorious.
Wairimu, I know I should come to you, but we need to jump to the next question. So that, because we definitely have to talk about this. So how can small businesses with limited, because we talk about small budget, how can small businesses with limited resources attract and retain great talent?
I mean, this is fantastic because it was what I was saying. When there isn't enough money, what else do you have to offer?
Yeah.
And at times, the lazy way is having more money. So I should just tell people, really, yeah.
Throw money at the problem.
Exactly, throw money at the problem. Tell them, you're going to pay them a big salary. You're going to attract the type of talent that only cares about that money.
Absolutely.
Okay? So that's something to know.
I really like the professional employee enigma.
Yeah. You're going to attract somebody who wants, the benefits. Not that they're not important. I, ask those questions. In fact, sometimes maybe I'm actually guilty of forgetting to ask them because I'm often interested in continuous learning. What does that look like? But yeah, I guess to reiterate maybe some of what I'd said, when you don't really have as much money, honesty still works at this stage. Be very, very honest about that. But also clarity of expectations. And I want to say these are foundations with or without money. But now when there's money, they can really get lost.
Yes.
The wrong things can be amplified. But having them in place means that money enhances them. It's like an added incentive. When I talk about reskilled or given a bit more responsibility to like fill that gap.
From within, right?
So some people, I mean, now even in the era of GPT, you can come up with a quick job JD, right? And put it out there because you want to bring people in quickly. You've not checked really all these responsibilities that you're listing.
And I have seen, I have seen those, and you're just like, my goodness, did you guys actually?
Did you take a look?
Yes.
And what? Okay, so fine, that's the JD, but what does it look like day to day in the company? It's your job to figure those things out. It's not to figure out after the talent has come. Those are some of the things that provide clarity during the interviewing phase, that attraction and acquiring phase, so that onboarding is something that you've thought about, and you can at least tell someone your first 30 days potentially this is what could be going on. And even if you're not telling them everything at that stage, because again you're probably interviewing multiple candidates, there's clarity around expectation on what they will get in terms of the things they'll be working on, their interests. Check that, do interest mapping as well. How much of what they're interested in will show up in their work in the day to day, and where their limitations.
I really like that.
Where their limitations, what are other avenues, I know like some of the perks that came with being at Tulix was I mean Tulix was not a mental health company, it was in fintech, right? But they knew I was interested in those things, so they were very supportive of me when I'm doing some other stuff out there. They'd give me time and almost consult with me on a project I'm working on. It was an added bonus, to be honest, that made me feel like, okay, these people are they're invested in my personal growth, and I'm excited. I've learned some new things in the spaces I'm in and bringing those back into the business. So those types of non-monetary kind of skills or enhancements that benefit both sides, I think that's a very useful thing. And this just really has to be said. Bureaucracy sucks, I will just say that. Like I just have zero tolerance for it. And when I say zero tolerance, doesn't mean I haven't learned how to endure it and the hoops, but let's aspire to completely kill it. It's not necessary. As in, let's stop making it feel like it's necessary, because we've done it.
What were government?
I don't know, innovation. But
I can see producer is laughing at the back of the
No, it's zero tolerance. But really, within that clarity also, they communicate. Again, there isn't as much money to cover for some of those things that you don't usually think about. So now people need to feel like there's mobility. They can communicate. They can make decisions. There's a level of autonomy, that you're taking in their feedback and implementing. And if the feedback is not quality, then tell them. They come up with something else. Feedback is so important.
Don't just quash it and then because also then you kill even innovation and independent thinking.
A high performer will not tell you things 5 times. They're noticing you're not implementing, so then you're not really listening. And finally, I mean, in this case, you're probably not paying me as much as I could be paid elsewhere. I'm aware of that. Like, so for the other places I'm trying to grow into, if I'm trying to acquire knowledge and experience, you're already blocking me with the processes, the long processes, zero trust, those types of things become irritating. They become irritating. And I mean, here's the other thing: somebody who's willing to work for you with less pay because they believe in the vision and the other things they're acquiring. If you're not clear on those things, then you should be scared. They can leave you very quickly because money was never the thing to begin with.
That is holding them there in the first place.
It's not money. It's not money. It's a whole different set of responsibility. The proximity I talked about, the ability to learn, the rooms that they allow you to walk into, the partnerships they introduce you to.
Exactly.
All those things are perks because those are future jobs potentially. Some even decide to become entrepreneurs as a result of that level of proximity. And then that also becomes a very useful thing in the long run, right? So I think, those are some of the things to really be thinking about.
Good stuff. I am really liking that. I don't know if we'll ever be able to kill bureaucracy. And also because with the new workforce, the Generation Z, the dreaded,
mixed feelings.
Yes.
Mixed feelings about
The honest truth is that if you offer a more, should I say, innovative space where, high performers, like you're saying, are able to thrive, then your organization will grow. But if you put them into that, like, I don't know how, for instance, government or these really large organizations are handling this new workforce, because for sure they care about their mental health, and they're not shy to talk about it. They want to have their opinions heard and taken into consideration. And I like what you said. Even if I'm giving you feedback that is useless, have a way of telling me. Then you see, it challenges me to think better.
Exactly.
And grow in that space. Anyway, let us get to the end. But I'm glad, because the last question we had actually talked about. And so Alistair, you will close this for us. And how does it mean to release talent well? And why is it a part of good business?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, yeah, we kind of started talking about that. It's connected. It's connected to a lot of things, in that the employee that has been on your team for however long that they've committed has built a relationship with your organization and the people in it. And if they were a good performer, even if they weren't, the reality is, out there, you don't know what's going to happen on the road ahead. They might have been terrible, and they go and have a change of heart, and suddenly they want, or they become great, or they could have actually been one of your best performers, and they want to go and grow, or you can no longer sustain having them. For my startup, at the point where we ran out of money, honestly, capital, we were honest with our team, and we just told them, this is the scenario that is upcoming. We didn't tell them at the point, on that month.
and you see that kind of because you focused it, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah.
So so you don't wait until the last day. You're like, guys, kesho hakuna kazi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So because we could see a potential risk ahead, we communicated that to the team and told them, well, that's how many months left. This is what we are doing to avoid that scenario. But in the event that it does happen, we need you guys to know, because you have your responsibilities, That was the start of a good release, in my opinion, in that, because they were aware, they made their own decisions around what to do, and we did not guilt them into or just stay because
it's not about
without
money,
you we will.
It's about the vision and the mission, what you're trying to accomplish.
So through that, we were able to actually figure out what working arrangement could allow them to stay on and carry on with work while looking after themselves, while we look for funding, you see. So at the point where, and we always kept it open and said that if it becomes untenable, please, you must look after yourself. That was part of a good release. And at the end, yes, of course, it was just my co-founder and I left, and everyone had to. But we maintained great relationships with all of them. I don't think that's the case in many companies that have that ending. And if anything, you get detractors leaving you. For us, we got quite the opposite. We got guys who still check up on us, still care about us, are still looking out for opportunities, even that we can either do something together and so on.
And we can collaborate.
So your employees are part of your social capital at the end of the day. And you need to see it as something, they are an investment. Whether they are with you or they have left your company, they're an investment. The kind of return you will get from them depends on what you did while they were with you.
Good stuff. Very much. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, I think just to echo something that Alisa had said earlier about looking at talent as an asset, it's understandable to feel like you're being left, to be honest, especially because resignation, truthfully, even in the most amazing culture, there's no warning bell. And I mean, case in point, I actually ended up leaving 2 leaks myself. Like that had happened. Us working together came in later, but it's because of that goodwill. But I was excited about sharing my next step and why, because it was a safe and open conversation.
Right.
So with that in mind, then I think it shouldn't be about what can I do to keep them here? Don't be thinking, don't think about retention as keeping them here.
Yes.
Because in all honesty, as long as you're not the founder of a business, that's not your dream necessarily.
Yes.
It's not
you're helping
dream.
someone achieve their goals.
I'm telling you, even if you're sat in C-suite and you are not the founder, you came in a C-suite role, it's probably still not your dream. Unless something has happened and you really feel like you've come and it is. But if you're not the founder, it's not your dream. There's always room for that. I think you should be excited for people to figure out what their dreams are. Because they can go, Africa has a lot of problems. Let's build these businesses. Let's be so empowered from the companies we've worked in that we feel, man, I think I can go out there and do my thing. That's a positive thing. So I think when you're thinking of the employee life cycle, really be thinking I'm going to do the best job possible to build rapport with this person right from the minute I'm trying to acquire them. Wonderful relationship that allows for two-way communication, feedback, growth both ways, and on and on. It's really when they're there. How much data can they give me about what success looks like in this role? Not with them forever necessarily.
Yes.
It could be 10 years. Some could start and end the company. Great. It could be a year. It could be 6 months. But what does success look like in that role? You're in a data finding mission together. That's what I think you should be thinking about. That way, when it comes time to leave, it's it can be a positive thing. It will be sad, but it can be a positive thing and pick up the cycle again. But not baking in animosity because you're not planning yourself. There's no employee who has the power to be to do business planning. They're not the owner.
Yes.
So since you are the one at the helm, you're the one who sets the tone for what it means like to feel excited, sad, annoyed about joining or leaving. You shape the tone. So I think let's trust building and fact finding, and then we move on.
Good stuff. Alistair, final words. And also tell us if people want to get in touch, how do they reach you?
Okay. Final words is employer, employee. Just it's a two-way street. It's a two-way street, and it's an investment. It's an investment of time, energy, and money from both sides. So you really need to tend to it, every single one, as much as you can. Of course, the larger an organization grows, the harder it becomes, but all the more reason to set the right foundations from the get-go, so that as you almost become just limited with limited time, more detached from the larger team, then the people that are there are able to effectively communicate and carry on the business in that way, in the same spirit. So understanding that it is give and take. Every single role, it's give and take. And a great experience for the employee is a great experience for everyone.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. So people just need to rethink that dynamic. It's not a power play on the part of the company. It is a trade. And it needs to be a fair trade.
How do we reach you guys?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to see the channels, but mostly Instagram would be Werimundongo KE and LinkedIn as Werimundongo. I also have a Substack newsletter called Imperfect Practice, where if you've enjoyed this conversation, I write about this stuff. Very vocal about this stuff.
Career.
Career, health, and gender. They're cross-cutting. How they're interlinked.
Good stuff.
Okay.
Alistair?
Same channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, X. I also write a newsletter on Substack called Unstructured Notes, that is really about money, investing, and life, honestly, and innovation, allowing people to think differently about these things.
Good stuff. We could go on.
We could.
We should have gone on.
We shall.
But we shall. I like that. But allow us to stop our conversation today. We hope that you have benefited. and learned, about the employer-employee journey and the relationship, and just what it means to get the right people and to have that plan properly. I really like the funnel and the emphasis on the release. Guys, for as long as you're employing someone, there is an end. That's why we have contracts. Yes. Even if you're permanent and pensionable, there'll be a day when that pension checks in, which means someone has left.
Yeah.
So plan with that in mind. And like Warimo said, the owner is the one who does the business planning. We as the employees can help, but you as the owner, you have the ultimate decision making. So plan properly, think through how your employer journey is going to be. Think about the things that you're going to, how you're going to incentivize them beyond money. I really like, think about continuous learning, for instance. What else beyond the JD, beyond the CV, is this employee bringing, and how can you help nurture them so that they feel like, beyond just the 10 things that have been listed in this JD, I can actually thrive in this organization. When you do that, then people are able to stay longer, produce more. And remember, like Alistair said, it's a trade. There's a benefit. It's a mutually beneficial arrangement between employer and employee. Usifeel nikama because it's an employer's market, now you just no. When you treat your people right, the business thrives. I want to believe so. We have to end there, but please, if you have any questions, you've shared their contacts, please feel free to reach out to them, reach out to us as well on the show, and we'll be able to continue this conversation. But from us today at Icon Radio, good night, good morning, goodbye, depending on the time you're watching this. Asanteni sana. Bye-bye.
Thank you.